Good evening, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing bad, Scott. How are you?
Definitely been worse. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Let's see, we're at 7:02 already. I'll give it another couple of minutes here just to see if we can get a couple
Understood.
of people in the room. All right. Well, we're kicking over to 7:04. I don't want to drag this out too long, so we will get started in just a moment here. Make sure I sent that. And hopefully we'll have some folks join us as we move forward. All righty, it is 7:04. My name is Scott Weldon, and this is the South Carolina Normal Cannabis Conversation. We have it every Wednesday, 7 p.m. All of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. We do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. All right, let me just close the disclaimers here. And again, I'd like to welcome everybody who's here with me on the call. Welcome to anybody who may be watching live on YouTube, or also welcome to anybody who's watching it as a recording on YouTube. As I mentioned on YouTube, I do like to point out that during our live meeting here, we are not monitoring the comment section on the YouTube. So if you do have any questions, comments, and or concerns, please leave them down below in the comment section. Once YouTube's done rendering in about 24, 48 hours, we will go back and visit the YouTube channel and address your questions, comments, and or concerns. Let me check this message real quick. Okay, that's good. All righty, let me just kind of pull up our agenda for tonight, get it in front of me. For the most part, what we're going to be talking about is, how did I mash that page together? The upcoming legislative session, which starts January 11th. It'll be the second half of the 124th legislative session. Again, I can't find it in front of me. Let me get it in front of me here. Here we go. 124th South Carolina General Assembly. So it's the second regular session. First regular session was last year, or this year. We have a 2-year session here in South Carolina. So it will run on a 2-year cycle. The first regular session of the 124th South Carolina General Assembly started on, I don't know the exact date, January 9th, I believe it was last year. Usually it's I want to say the second Tuesday of the month of January, so whatever that was last year. This year it'll be starting up on January 11th, 2022. Matter of fact, just this past week, starting Monday, legislators were in the State House, apparently discussing priorities for the upcoming session, amongst some other things. I forget what the heck I saw they were talking about now. I wouldn't doubt it was mask mandates or something silly like that. Anyway, one of the things that they were doing while they're back this week is discussing the priorities for the calendar for this coming year. And I actually, I said this to somebody the other day. I almost want to actually thank Dave Wilson of the, let me see if I can get this correctly, the Palmetto Family Council. I don't know why my machine's running so slowly. There it is. One of our supporters had messaged me, I want to say on Saturday, I forget, I was out and about, may have been Saturday or Sunday. I was out with my wife, I think probably flea marketing or having brunch or who knows what. And I saw a message pop up on my texts about, had this video attached to it. And I'm like, kind of looked at it, acknowledged it, and thought, well, I'll look closer at this when I get home. Oh, excuse me. And when I get home, I find this video, and I'm going to go ahead and do a real quick share screen with you. This was shared from Facebook. So we're on Facebook here. Let me kind of move my window just a little bit. And this fella here is Dave Wilson from Palmetto Family Council. Palmetto Family Council is a 501c3 that has been around since about 25 years, I think 1996. And they are a religious-based organization. You can find their email address here, palmettofamily.org. I don't know if any of you can see it, have seen this video, and I'm not exactly sure what copyright laws are and if I actually share this. So if you haven't seen it, head to Facebook, Palmetto Family, facebook.com/Palmetto Family, scroll down a couple, and it's a 2-minute or so video, and it also links out to their page, which for the most part, and that I will click out onto. Let me go do that quick. Oh crap, I forgot I said quick and everything's running slow on my machine. This will take you to their website, palmettofamily.org, into their news/marijuana. Don't need all the ID stuff behind it. And for the most part, what you see here is this is a letter, or what Chief Mark Keel wrote in the Palmetto Family Matters magazine regarding medical marijuana. When it was written in their magazine, I don't exactly know. But if you go and you take a look at that, matter of fact, I'll go ahead and share the link here in the chat. It is the usual Chief Mark Keel rhetoric. Basically, if you watch the video and this thing, they start talking about the opioid crisis and then linking marijuana to opioids because they're both Schedule 1. Complete ridiculousness. When I look at the impact of something as simple, quote unquote, as marijuana, what it has done to communities, impacting people's lives, I shudder at the thought of doing anything to legalize it in South Carolina. That's Chief Mark Keel of SLED. He shudders. Anywho, let me go back over to the video. And what the heck? We'll give it a shot. I don't see why anybody. Oh, we're in a Zoom meeting. I don't think Zoom's going to stop us from editorializing on this. So if you can't hear it, let me know. But I think we should be able to hear this. Let me see what kind of trouble I'm at. Okay. All righty. Let me go ahead and turn off the share here for a moment. Well, before I do, you'll notice this has like over 170 comments in there. There are a few by me, as you can see. As he mentioned, go ahead and contact your legislator. So, hey, I made sure I added a link in there. Go to your contact your legislators, find your legislators, and of course, I want you to contact them and show your support. So anyway, that was kind of fun this week, and I want to almost thank Dave Wilson, as I say, for helping alert me to our legislators going back and talking about this week. I had no clue. I haven't been really watching the legislative calendar. And if you do go to scstatehouse.gov, I think it's on the left hand, you can see both the House and the Senate calendars there. You usually click into them and find out what they've got on their agenda the next week or two. I don't think it goes out much more than 2 weeks. But anyway, they're not in official session right now, but they do like to run back there and talk about abortions and masks and vaccines and gun rights and what to do on death row when you run out of the death row drugs. I think those have been some of the big topics the past year. Anyway, let me go ahead and find that other little screen. So that is the start of the 124th legislature. General Assembly, January 11th. So what's going on with us? And let me go back and look at my kind of simple agenda here. We are also kind of kicking up the beginning of the election cycle, as we've talked about a couple of times on here. We have been in contact with a few candidates, some of them incumbents, some of them challengers. I think the one that's very interesting to me right now, because I'm in her district, is Nancy Mace. Will be facing competition from Dr. Annie Andrews, as Democrat is running at this point, has announced. And of course, why it's interesting to me with Nancy is she has just announced her sponsorship of the States Reform Act, which is a bill to deschedule marijuana, which also includes some social equity features in it as well, expungement funding, small taxing to help fund that kind of stuff. Pretty sensible legislation. Tax rate's a whole lot better than the one in the COA, Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act I think that one is. MORE Act, of course, as we know, I think that gained a few new sponsors, and let me see if I have notes in front of me. I don't think I do, but I believe the MORE Act hit 100 co-sponsors in the House. Yeah, I don't have a note in front of me on that one. I did the other day, but I don't see it now. But we got things cooking. I mean, I was talking to, well, interestingly, I was talking to someone named Kevin Caldwell, who is based out of Louisiana. Louisiana just recently went state decriminalization. I forget what he said, where they are in their medical. But he's been rather prominent in the process of decriminating kind of municipality by a municipality and helping them with their, sorry about this. It took me a while, but I had to share the password with somebody. He's just been, I want to say hired. I don't know if it's an appointment or a hiring. I believe it's hired as the Southeastern coordinator for MPP, the Marijuana Policy Project. We have been in contact, or I've had some conversations with Karen O'Keefe, who is my understanding from my conversation with Kevin today. Karen will still be leading up South Carolina while it's moving forward with the medical bill, because she's kind of been working with it this long in the state. And I think until he kind of gets up to speed. Kevin's very excited about decrim movement, and it actually gave me an opportunity to talk to him a little bit today about our focus for our lobby day, because I'm sort of torn as far as how we should focus. Real quick breakdown on our lobby day. Let's see if I have it. I have a little lobby day planning guide that we got from National, actually just yesterday. But one of the things it talks about early on is reading the landscape of your legislature, research your legislators, their positions and their past votes, which we'll have to do as we start to prepare to go and visit each and every legislator that we plan on visiting. Identify bill sponsors and co-sponsors, identify opposition and rebuttals for those opposition. And that's part of why you want to focus. And really in South Carolina, on our lobby day, I almost feel that we should, and I, if you're not watching on video, I'm bobbing my head a little, we should really lobby for medical. I have a strong urge to really focus our lobbying on harm reduction through decriminalization, and try and talk that aspect. Partially because I feel that medical is very, very close to the goal line, and it has that push from the medical advocate group, things like the Compassionate Care Alliance and SC Compassion and those groups that look at specifically the medical avenue. They do not look at the harms of marijuana arrest on the general population. It's not their concern. Their concern's a little closer to their heart. It's either themselves or a loved one that can benefit medically from marijuana. Where my look, and ever since I even founded, Low Country Normal back in January 2017, has more been the unconstitutionality of marijuana legislation and the harm reduction of trying to decriminalize it. People should not be going to jail for small possession, simple possession. You've probably heard me tell these two little stories here repeatedly on the Zoom calls. But when we were setting up our booth a few years back and meeting the public a lot and talking to people as they pass by, the two stories that really stuck out. One was a fella who got stopped in his car and they found one seed in his ashtray. 30 days in jail. And then the young woman, now there was her and her husband and two daughters they'd pulled over. Excuse me. Actually, did a U-turn because they saw our booth. They were on their way home from the beach. They saw our booth. They did a U-turn and they kind of came back and pulled over to the roadside where we were. Mama wanted to be real clear with the daughters on why they were pulling over to the marijuana stand, because the one daughter was in her early teens and they just didn't want the daughters to get the wrong idea on why they were pulling over. And once they sort of explained why they were pulling over, and Mom started telling me her story on, she was again stopped at for some reason by police. Again, I don't ask reasons why. Cop wanted to search her purse. She's like, I don't care, go for it. There's nothing in there. Now, if you ask me, never consent to a search. If you ask a lawyer, they'll tell you, never consent. If you talk to the Supreme Court even advises you, do not talk to law enforcement. Exercise your Fifth Amendment right to stay quiet. Do not try and make it right. Do not try and explain it away. Anyway, she was certain, I got nothing. Sure, search my purse. And in the bottom of her purse was a stained, slightly singed piece of paper that was left over from a roach. Now the weed had all fallen out, disappeared, turned to dust, who knows what, but this piece of paper was there. It tested positive for marijuana. 30 days in jail. That's South Carolina for you, my friend. So, and not only that, and again, you'll hear me talk over and over and over again about the residual consequences from a marijuana arrest. You want to try and get student educational loans, student loans. Nope. You want to get public housing. Nope. Yeah, it could be a problem if you were in a custody battle for your children. There's just so many things. If you're in the military, as Mike has talked many a time, you get caught hot in the military, or I don't know about possession, but I would assume it'd be the same thing. You could lose security clearances. It can just be a mess. So I'm about a lot more than just we need it for people's health. I also think that we need to stop harming people by criminalizing it. That's where I'm torn on the focus for the lobby days, and talking with that Kevin Caldwell today. I think what I've kind of done is just become okay with talking about both. I am going to share another link with you here in just 1 second. This is the link for our lobby day sign up. I think I got the right link here. In the lobby day sign up, it is a required field on your address and your zip code, and of course your name. We need to know who you are and all your info, really, because we want your email to communicate with you. We're going to want your cell phone address so that on that day we can find you if we don't know where you are, kind of thing. And then we are going to get your contact info so that we can pinpoint who your legislators are. And then we're going to work on making appointments with those legislative offices, either the senator and House member themselves or one of their aides, and kind of do I'm almost going to call it a stop, drop off, and go. We don't want to really be planning long meetings with these legislators. We don't want to take a whole lot of time. As we've talked before, and again, this was a conversation we had just with National yesterday. Dress professionally. Matter of fact, Jen Michelle, who is our chapter's coordinator, she's not even happy with the little lapel pins. As some of you have seen the new normal logo, and I don't have it in front of me. This thing back here. Oh, which reminds me, getting to be the holidays. I want to turn some lights on. This little thing back here, again, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but we may have access to some of those pins by lobby day, but I don't know. We don't have access to ordering them now. I'm okay with wearing a simple lapel pin. My preference to any of our members that are going is maybe they just wear something like their name badge to show that they're with our group. And again, you'll notice on our name badge, there's no big pot leaves on it. But otherwise, we are going to try and keep it as professional. Oh, we lost the connection. As we can to make it as comfortable for the legislators as we can. They can get uncomfortable at just the sight of a marijuana leaf. There we go. Yeah, so that's been the recommendation by National. If we get the new pins, fine, but at this point, I will probably wear at least a little lapel pin. But again, as Jen Michelle puts it, it's more to keep the legislators comfortable. We don't want them quivering because they see a marijuana leaf, you know, on our shirts or something like that. So we're going to try and keep it as low key. Again, I may not wear that. I may just wear my badge. And that's something too that I will be talking to I have somebody making signs for the press conference rally type thing on not being over the top with pot leaf type of thing. Try and keep it low key. Like I said, we want to try and keep the legislators comfortable, and that's why the dress as professionally as we can. I mean, I have a jacket over a pretty crappy shirt. I dress a little bit better than I do for y'all, sorry. But yeah, we do want to try and we're meeting them in a professional office setting, or we want to dress professionally. We will have some stuff, but for the most part, we're going to want to have some sort of one-pager that we can leave behind. And that's where I say we can talk about more than one subject on that. We can highlight one or two or three things. We don't really want to make it much more than one page. We will probably want to, on that one pager, highlight the legislation that we're talking about with them. So a good example, if we're in a senator's office, we're going to talk about S-150, the South Carolina Compassionate Care Act. And if we are on a House of Representatives members, we are going to talk about, let's see if I can find it, H3361, which is Herb Kurzman's version of the South Carolina Compassionate Care Act, which also includes smoking and flower. I like to point out those differences because, again, there's a big pushback on smoking and flower and the sale of flower by SLED, and yet we know the efficacy of smoking, especially by PTS sufferers, seems to be they get greater efficacy through smoking. So I like that bill better, but of course that's not the one that has steam at this point. It is S-150. Well, I will also like to, in those leave behinds, probably try and highlight at least H3228, which is a Henderson-Myers decrim bill, which has about 30 co-sponsors on it last time I looked, and I haven't looked in months. There are 3 other decrim bills. I believe all 4 of them are, and I don't have it on my notes here, but I believe all 4 decrim bills are democratically sponsored. So in a Republican-controlled House and Senate, they are probably just going to languish and die in committee. And that's why I'd like to push the H3228 because of the number of co-sponsors on it. And if nothing else, say we like this legislation, would like to see legislation like this move forward. if for some reason you can't move this particular bill forward, maybe we can have a Republican sponsor a similar bill to decriminalize. It doesn't hurt to ask. Now, mind you, after Nancy Mace's announcement of her descheduling legislation, the chairman, I think it is of the South Carolina GOP, went, oh, absolutely not. No, no, no. We Republicans in South Carolina do not support any type of marijuana law reform laws. But hey, it's our lobby day, and there are legislators. I mean, my plan is we're going to be scheduling with legislators who are going to have constituents of theirs along with us. At this point, we know that I'm going to be there, and probably I'm pretty certain that Kristen Wilmot, our deputy director, will be there with us. We've already discussed the possibility or probability of splitting up, and I might go with a small group or one constituent to talk to their legislator with them. She may go with another one to theirs, or we may go as small groups. We'll see how that all kind of pans out and how many people we get signed up for lobby day. The sooner we get signed up, hopefully the sooner that we can start scheduling appointments. Although the conversation I had with folks yesterday on the national call was that some offices, some legislators will say, we will not start scheduling appointments until the start of session, which would be that January 11th. And at that point, we'd have to be scrambling to call and, get all those things arranged. And where are we calendar-wise? Right now we have, I don't want to say 30 days because there's a lot of holiday, blah, blah, blah in between. But there's usually somebody in their office that they can be contacted. The word I get is call them, but also include an email as a follow-up or as you call with your same ask. And some of the things that we'll have on hand. We talked about this a little bit last week, but some of our fact sheets, if we need fact sheets to take along. The other thing we will have is some of our booklets. We'll take all what we have of our emerging clinical applications books that we can leave with them. Again, this highlights the medical aspect of it for them. And I haven't figured it yet. We'll probably fine tune some of this as we get a lot closer to that February 9th date. I've been advised to maybe schedule a wrap up event afterwards at some coffee shop or something like that. Just as we're finished, we can kind of come back and decompress and chat with each other before hitting the road and heading home about how we thought the day went, and sort of I'll be providing some feedback forms and things to, again, ask you all the participants how you thought it went, how you think we can improve, that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. We've got a lot of stuff on this burner, and this is my first year of actually getting ramped up and ahead of this stuff. Past years, all of a sudden, it's like mid-January, and we're going, oh, session started. And I kind of, and of course, my health the past couple of years hasn't been the best, off and on, and I'm feeling much better recently. I remember last year we kind of threw together a lobby week at the last minute, which was just sort of like, oh, I'll get online each day and I'll ask everybody to do something. Email today, call tomorrow. A big thing when we're going to be going through, and we will be doing it as a lobby week again this year, I think starting February 6th, Monday the 6th or 7th. Yeah, Sunday the 6th, actually. We're going to make it a whole 7 days, and in the middle of it will be the 9th, which will be the Wednesday lobby day, actually at the Capitol. Give me a moment while I quick check here and see what Jessica dropped in. Okay. Okay, that was dropped into the chat and everyone can see it. Basically, Jessica had said she was going to contact Soda City, or Soda City Market, actually, as she has it listed in here. Let me correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a Saturday kind of craft artisan market, local focus. So if you're a local artisan or crafter or producer of basically anything, and that's, I think, kind of the focus of their market. But they do also have some slots opened up for nonprofits and causes. I think that they do on like a monthly cycle. You can't be there like every week if you're a nonprofit, but you could be there maybe once a month. Um, so she said she was going to be looking into it. They are all year, rain or shine, as I see down there. Oh boy, rain. Then again, shine. I gotta say, some of the ones I've done down here in Charleston in the middle of the summer, the heat. You know, it's hard to air condition a 10 by 10 pop up tent with no sidewalls on it. It's just love the heat and find some shade. Yes, did they send you an application form or a link to a form or something like that that you can provide me to look at? Let me know. Yes, we're antsy and wanting to get back out. I have also had somebody in the early stages, but there's been some interest on folks putting together a couple of other chapters. The one focus right now, I think, is we've probably got 3 or 4 people in the Columbia area that maybe we can kind of get something rolling up there, and that would be an excellent opportunity for then that Columbia chapter to be able to participate in the Soda City market, you know, on a rotating cycle of some sort. So we'll play on that a little bit and see where that goes. Again, I was kind of talking to somebody who wants to kind of ramp something up there. And I know a couple of others of you sort of talked about it. So we'll see where that goes. All right, let me peek back at my notes here real quick. Not a whole lot. Like I said, we already talked a little bit about the start of the election cycle. I do want to. They give you a link. Cool. If you can either email that to me or something of that nature, that would be cool. If you know of any candidates that are starting to announce their candidacy for state legislature, I believe they're only senators in this cycle, but I could be mistaken. Pretty sure it's only senators in this cycle. But if you know of any candidates running, well, at least at the state level, at the federal level, I think it's only House members. I don't think anybody's running against Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham. I don't think they're up for election right now. They just were when frickin' Graham won and Scott won. You know, do I look pained? Anyway, our only hope right now for Lindsey Graham or Tim Scott, and I would really like to see Tim Scott do it, and I don't think he would, but I'd really like to see Tim Scott sponsor a companion bill to Nancy Mace's States Reform Act to deschedule marijuana. I think it would be great if we had 2 federal legislators, 2 U.S. legislators, a senator and a House of Representative member from South Carolina sponsoring marijuana legislation at the federal level to deschedule. I think it'd be awesome. You know, do you think it'll happen? Don't know. And again, that was kind of part of my conversation because I know historically in most states and of course at our federal level, uh, marijuana has more support from the left than from the right. Um, South Carolina is definitely a little different because we do have the medical marijuana bills by Republicans, by the conservative legislators, um, and that I think is a little unusual compared to most other states as far as um, most bill sponsors. Correct me, I could be mistaken on that, but again, after that GOP chairman, South Carolina GOP chairman statement the other week, uh, uh, I yeah, I'd love to see because I know the conservative voters want marijuana law reform. I would just love to see that their representatives would start to come around and sponsor some legislation that would abide by the wishes of their constituency. Um, and I'm not certain of the numbers, but I believe last polling I saw. We know the poll that was done well, the poll, but in the primary of 2020 on the Democratic ballot, it was 82 or 84%, I forget now. 82 or 84% of the voters said yes on medical marijuana. The Republicans did not put that on their primary ticket as a question. Again, their leadership said our constituents don't care. There was a pushback on that because their constituents do care. I remember seeing, Jill Swing holding a sign saying, I'm your constituent and I care. I don't know if it said I'm a Republican. I'm not sure, but I know it was, you know, along those lines. Um, and I know a lot of other Republicans, and again, Tom Davis, who's a Republican senator, was yes, we do care. So there's mixed feelings on the conservative side. Again, not nearly as mixed with the constituency, with the voters, because I believe that number is about 64%. So we're at about two-thirds. Um, and that number's changing all the time. That number's growing and has been growing. One of the numbers I like a lot, and I don't think that one's in front of me here, but in 1970, basically, when NORML was first founded, I think the paperwork was filed in 71, but they were active in 1970. In surveys back at that time, polls at that time, there was about 12% support for marijuana law reform. And you look at the polls now, and they're trending at 80 and over 90% on national surveys, and we did one on our website, pretty small sampling, and we were like 95 point something percent, and we don't know the political affiliation of any of those votes in our survey, and it wasn't a scientific survey in any way, but again, we see that on many surveys, that the opinions are evolving by folks that may have been opponents just a few short years ago, or even sometimes months ago, are turning around and becoming supporters. I'm still hearing, people's fears quite often. I think twice in the past week I've been asked, how many members are in your group? And when I talk about how many members follow us on Facebook, that's one thing. When we actually talk about who has, paid members that have their membership on an annual basis, that number is a little bit different. That's a bit smaller because there are people in the state that are afraid that their name's going to get put on some sort of government list and they're going to be retaliated against by enforcement. It's funny. I mentioned it to somebody else, and they said they were from New York, and they thought Why would they be worried about their name getting on some government list? You think that'd be a good thing, that they can let their legislators know? Like, that's not kind of the way it works here. If they know you're on the list, they're looking for you to give you trouble, whatever list that may be. I haven't seen the list, and if I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on it. So won't be the first time. Anyway, any questions on our lobby day on the start of the second regular session of the General Assembly, and or on the upcoming elections and what we're going to be planning on doing? Questions, comments, thoughts, concerns? Okay, I am going to scroll back here a minute. All right, there is the lobby day link in the chat. I'm going to ask you all to kind of copy that, save it, think about it. If you are available or can make yourself available or put it on your schedule for February 9th. The plan is at this point to have a press conference at 9 a.m. in the first floor lobby of the Capitol building of the State House. That application just got dropped in the mail yesterday. I don't know exactly what's going to happen if they say, no, you can't meet in the lobby. There are, I think, 2 other outdoor grounds locations, the South Steps and the North Garden. Actually, I think the South, whatever it was closed. It was like an East and a North. And anyway, I'll have to go look at my form again. But they may let us, I don't know, choose another location. When I was talking to the folks at National, Virginia had mentioned they don't do it at the State House. They actually did their kickoff and a press conference, I believe, at a nearby hotel. I don't know if they have members staying at the hotel and were able to utilize the hotel, or how they manage that, but either way, as long as you get the press and media involved, get the press attention, that's a good thing. Although, I like the impact of being right there in the first floor lobby of the State House, with folks holding up signs and sharing our message, and having some speakers there. I'm not sure who our speakers will be yet. I'm sure I'll have something to say. I have had a couple of suggestions on 1 or 2 people to invite, and I have a couple of thoughts in the back of my head. But if you have any thoughts of any prominent political powers to be or something like that, for us to kind of invite and to basically highlight the need for harm reduction through decriminalization. That will really be our focus on this event: harm reduction through decriminalization. We will talk about medical as we talk to our lobby, go through our lobby day process, and on our handouts to the legislators. And there will probably be a little, some discussion, I guess, on medical, as far as the harm reduction and decriminalization go. Not sure how we're going to meld them well in a press conference, but we'll work on that till we get there. One last look. I'm going to just real quick check comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. And otherwise, I'm going to follow up by looking at my calendar real quick. We have 3 more Wednesdays this year. And as far as I'm concerned, we're probably going to have a call every Wednesday. So if you're available, you're welcome to join me. Starting next year, we're going to change things up just a little bit. We're still going to have our calls every Wednesday, 7 p.m. The second Wednesday of every month will now be the normal monthly public meeting. So instead of having a third Tuesday thing kind of thrown off on the side of those other meetings, we are going to roll that monthly meeting in as part of our regular Wednesday calls. To me, that's a good thing because those public monthly meetings that we do a rundown of all aspects for the most part. We talk a little bit about what's going on federal level, not in depth, but we talk about, what kind of pop. We'll talk about what's going on state level. We talk about what's going on at our local chapter level and what's going on with the chapter. And our upcoming events and such from there. So we think it'll blend in and merge well with the Wednesday calls. We think it'll give us better attendance on that particular meeting as well, and allow you all that join us on Wednesdays to get a little bit of a look on what we do in chapter business. Otherwise, a lot of the other stuff we talk about on Wednesdays anyway. And that's, I think, the only other real change for next year as far as Wednesday calls go. We plan on keeping them up. As I mentioned, we had Kevin Caldwell talk, talking with Kevin Caldwell, who is now going to be the Southeast Regional Director kind of thing. I don't even know what exactly his title is for for MPP, Marijuana Policy Project. He's very excited to get on board and come on to the calls and talk to us some nights a little bit about that. He's laid out he sent me a couple of PowerPoints that I want to look through, and maybe we'll have him be able to kind of talk a bit about what they did down in Louisiana and the process to get them where they are now. Otherwise, as you know, we've got some stuff lined up for next year as we start getting into the election cycle. We already have a couple of politicians that want to come on and talk about their marijuana policies. As we pass the primary, we'll probably get some sort of roundtables and or debates going. It's going to be an exciting year, I think, in cannabis calls. We'll see where it goes. Last but not least, I am going to follow up Jessica. Oh, I did say that. Send me that link. I will go ahead and fill out an application. See what it takes to get involved up in Soda City, see if we can get some basic supplies up there, that we can maybe roll out a monthly, every other month, every third month, some sort of something at that event on a regular cycle, and make that a good starting point for maybe a Columbia chapter, a monthly event for a Columbia chapter. We'll see where that all goes. Otherwise, that's it for the night, folks. I think I'm going to miss the final Jeopardy question. Yeah. I missed all the others tonight. But it's been great talking to you. I love talking about marijuana policy at both state and federal level. I'm really getting excited for this lobby day. Might be a week or so later than I was hoping to, 2 weeks later than I was hoping to, but really I think we're still right on it. I've seen a lot of other lobby days. Matter of fact, some states will do multiple lobby days. They'll go up and, like this one, go up early and say, hey, we know that, we want medical as a priority, and then maybe go up a little bit later in the season and talk about something else. We are going to focus on one this year, and see where it takes us. So don't forget, keep that in mind, February 9th. Otherwise, we will be back here again next Wednesday. Let me also look at my calendar. We will do a monthly meeting Tuesday, the 21st, but we'll be back here next Wednesday, the 15th, and again the 22nd, just a couple days before Christmas. And boy, the 29th, maybe we'll do a little New Year's celebrating or something like that. That's all I have for you tonight, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and or Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And last but not least, if you visit our website at scnormal.org, scroll all the way down to the bottom and sign up for our newsletter. That's all for tonight. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.